working separately on our own designs.
So everyone had their own things to do, even though it was all one project. But
exactly. We just had to make sure the designs were cohesive. But we did work like beside each other, so it was cool to like we'd chat while we're working and stuff. And the guy that I was working next to, his name is Mikael, and the group is Nazarimba. He was like, I was telling him like, I want to get into painting murals and this and that. And then he suggested that I apply for this Crescent Heights project. And I ended up applying for that and getting it. So it was like, it was good to kind of like meet other people and chat. Like I'm learning that networking is like super important.
Absolutely.
Like everyone I meet, I end up like meeting later on to do something else. So,
right.
Yeah.
So it was just all like interconnected, all one vibration.
Yeah, everything.
Let's talk about the colors now, because my sense is when I see in the color, I say, oh, wow, she's Jamaican. Who decided on the colors?
For Deerfoot City?
Yes.
It was them. They had.
They had all these ideas and saying, these are the colors that we want.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. They wanted like a really bright, first it was kind of neon, but they just decided to go with like a really bright color palette.
It worked.
Yeah.
It worked.
They gave that to us and we had to just like figure out a design that we wanted to use. And yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for telling us. And then you've done so many now. So that was the first one, the Black Party. Then we have, I guess this is the most recent one, the Black Lives Matters mural. This will be in Kensington somewhere?
Yeah. Well, that was my third one that I did.
Oh, that was your third. So, third. Okay. I'm just catching up on things.
Yeah. So the Black Lives Matter one, I think that one, somebody texted me on Instagram too, same thing. And then, their company like wanted to support Black Lives Matter. And it's going to be that building that I painted is going to be their office. So they had like this open space. They're like, okay, come check out the space. And we just want something positive, but you can pretty much do whatever you want and something meaningful. So I was like, okay, cool. So yeah, I went back home, kind of did my usual process, which is like a mood board. And then I got into the design and I noticed like around the city, there was like that whole controversy with...
That's when the protest was going on.
Yeah, the protest over that giving wings to the dream painting.
Right downtown with the bird and the hands. Yeah. Right.
So yeah, I had seen that advertising looking for an artist for that. And I was kind of surprised that they were going to paint over that painting because it's just been there for so long. But at the same time, it's like you think about it, you're like, oh, wow. And then you just kind of move on. But I guess people really lingered on that. I guess it was like pretty meaningful for some people, which I can understand. But after I saw that it was canceled and the reason why, then I was like, this is kind of messed up, right? Because at the end of the day, this is just a painting. And then like people's lives are being threatened. Like there's racism coming from this.
Right.
So, and I thought like, okay, what if it was a white group that wanted to paint over this? Like, and you couldn't use racism. What would you do? Like, what would be the response? Like, is there not like something else you could do? Petition, right? Like protest. You don't have to be like racist.
There was a more civil way to handle the matter. But I think too, yeah, you're right. That was there since I think 93 or something like that. And, you know, for me, I mean, I'm not an artist. So then maybe an artist would see it differently. You know, with the whole buzz and the whole rioting and the whole back and forth with everybody going crazy. I just felt like, well, I didn't think it was a good spot anyway. I thought it was a horrible spot. So I couldn't see what the fuss was about from that point on. For me, it was like, it's not even a good spot, because when you think about murals and the walls that they're on, you think about a place that, oh, you're walking by, oh, this is a cool wall, I want to take pictures. And you stand there and you get a snap with you and your kid or you and your friends or whatever. But there's a huge fence around this place. That was my deal. So now you have another opportunity presented at you. How going into that, were you, I guess there was no fuss, there was no backlash with that one?
No. So, yeah, I don't know. I didn't think there would be any backlash in the beginning. And then, yeah, I decided to kind of center my theme around, I guess, the backlash on the other painting. And then once we started, I don't know, I was like kind of nervous because I had heard the other guy was getting like hecklers and all this stuff. But I just kind of kept quiet and kept it moving. And yeah, everything worked out just fine. So I think like with the other mural, it was just like the whole controversy kind of followed anyone that was involved with it. But luckily with mine, like people were pretty much positive. Like there's always people who are like, all lives matter. Like you guys are, you know, causing division, all this stuff. But I think they're a loud minority. So yeah, mostly positive. So I'm really proud of that piece.
Yeah, I seen photos of it. I haven't been there yet.
Yeah.
I probably will sometime this week to check it out and all these different things and try to
check it out.
Yeah, I will be checking it out because sometimes I feel like photos just don't do things justice. You have to be there physically to kind of see it and really appreciate it. So what is your stand on, I mean, you're a Black woman here in the society and you lived here, you grew up here.
Yeah.
This is practically your home and you're just Jamaican by birth, really.
Yeah.
Well, I tell people that all the time because I grew up, I was born in Liberia, but I never grew up in Liberia.
Okay.
I grew up in the Ivory Coast. Then I was, I think, 12 or 13 when I came to Canada, you know? So it's like...
But I'm very involved in my Jamaican culture though.
Right.
It's like a huge thing for me.
That's actually in an interview that I saw.
Yeah.
So
I always say I'm Jamaican.
You always say you're Jamaican. Yeah. I think that's pretty cool. I've met people that wouldn't even... You know, if they live there for that long, they kind of separate themselves from the community.
Like I spent summers there and like I visit.
Okay.
And I love being.
And you speak the patois as well?
No, I lost that. It was sad.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So what is it about Jamaica that you, actually I have a better question. So for years, Jamaican has sort of been like this separate entity from Africans in that they were not, you know, they never really regarded themselves as Africans, you know, they regard themselves as Black, but not African.
Yeah.
Do you think that that's changed now, or are we sort of in the process? Where are we with that?
I don't know. I think for me, like, it's not a problem with saying that, like, we're from Africa, because we know, like, that's where every Black person comes from, is Africa. But I think just when people are just saying you're African and just trying to like dismiss it, like you have your culture is Jamaican,
right?
I think that's what the issue is, right? So, yeah, I think that's for me. It's just like, yeah, we're all like the same, but we also have different things in our culture, right? Like you can't just dismiss somebody's background because you want them to be like you or you to be like them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think there's that, right? It's like if somebody said, "Oh, you're Trinidadian," like nobody likes to be said, like told them something that they're not.
It's like caught in a Nigerian or Liberian. They're like, what are you talking about? Right.
Even in Africa, if you're like, oh yeah, you're a Ghanaian or something.
Right. And
like, no,
I'm not.
So it's like that.
Right.
But I think that actually I've just seen the whole world like just full on embracing Africans. I think that, even in the music, because I listen to like Caribbean music a lot, I can see like the artists collabing and
absolutely,
yeah, and like Britain, there's like the African and Jamaican people are coming together to make music too, and like I could see it there, and even in the States, like even Beyonce is just like doing full on like Nigerian influence albums, so like everyone is like really like embracing their roots, especially with like Black Panther and everything too.
Right.
I think people are just, I guess, gaining more pride with, you know, our roots and like where we come from. So yeah, I definitely see a shift. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So that brings us on to like the diaspora. You mentioned that you've been to Jamaica several times. Tell us something about the Jamaican culture, because I'm not Jamaican.
Yeah.
You know, what would be like the core essence of the Jamaican culture?
At the core, I would say this, one thing that is so different in Jamaica than here is like, just like the sense of like neighbor, like everyone in the community, if you're walking past you cannot just walk past someone and stare at your phone. Like you need to say hi. Like
it's like that. It's like that where I'm from too.
Yeah. Like there's no,
you get smacked across the head a few times.
Yeah. Like everyone like calls to each other. Like people aren't afraid of each other. Like here, like people are awkward and try not to make eye contact or look at anyone. Mm-hmm. And like, yeah, people will do favors for each other. People, I feel like stick together more, and just have like a bigger sense of community. Mm-hmm. So that's one thing. Yeah. Even like, yeah, my grandma and my mom would tell stories. If somebody is cooking and you're walking by, you can come and eat too. Like,
right.
Yeah. It's
right.
like that. So
right. Yeah. It's very African in a sense. I mean, everywhere, all my friends, it's the same sort of thing that they do back home as well. You could always go somewhere and eat.
Right. Like we're not just individuals, like all doing our own thing. We're together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are that time. Why do you think that once we come to the West, we don't continue that tradition?
I think just capitalism, like, and if we're in a capitalist world, like we have to follow suit, right?
Right.
So like, even if you try to talk to your neighbors, you'll be lucky sometimes, but some neighbors, it's just like, you'll be right beside them, like, hey, like, hi.
And they're gone.
Yeah. So it's like, we're kind of like conditioned to be like that. Even myself, like, I'm just like, I don't know, I don't feel like talking to anyone because it's just awkward here. It's awkward here. Where, other places, you could say hi or whatever, and it's not going to be a thing.
Yeah, I definitely know where you're coming from with the awkwardness. I remember when I started this podcast back in January, it was something I've been wanting to do since Windsor. But at the time, I hadn't really gotten to a point where I said, okay, I could do it. But one of the few experiments that I did was to go out and just talk to people on the street, just random people. Mm-hmm. And you get a lot of that resistance, that awkwardness. And it didn't matter if it was, it came from like both sides, but sometime the barrier came down. Mm-hmm. With your own, if you ran into another immigrant or something, they were a little bit more recessive to kind of stand there and have a conversation. You can ask them random questions than it were, say, with my Caucasian brothers and sisters. Yeah, that was it's like pulled in teeth. Then you got all that stuff. So I think that's interesting. That when we come here, we sort of go the other way. I guess, like you said, with capitalism, everybody wants to, there's this pressure to be somebody now. There's this pressure to go and get the car, to go and get the house, to go and get this. So it's become about you. Yeah. But I find that it's way worse in this province. I don't know what it is.
Well, I don't know. I haven't been like many places, so I can't compare. But it's Ontario's like more friendly?
Oh, definitely more friendly, definitely more open. And also too, I think a part of that is because a lot of the people are young professionals, and they're moving away from their parents' house or moving away from the little outskirts of the cities that they grew up in to go into the big city. Yeah. And the only way to really make it in the big city is to diversify somehow and meet people and talk to them and things like that. So you have that sort of openness of dialogue. So maybe it's just one of those things. Would you ever move back home?
I definitely would move back home.
What would it take for that to happen?
You know what? I was like looking into working there and all those kind of things. And I think like, the economic situation is probably like the most difficult thing aside from like violence. Mm-hmm. I think you could find somewhere that's not as violent in the country. But I think the economic thing would be hard. So I'd have to figure out a way to like be able to sustain myself, like probably through like Canadian currency or like online, something like that. Right. Because, even like some of the really good paying jobs are just like, you look at the yearly and it's like 20,000 a year or something. So it's really difficult to just live there because like things are expensive and you're just not getting paid as much. Mm-hmm. So that's the one thing I'd probably say. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I know that in Liberia right now, they're using US dollars. So if you went out to buy a bottle of water, it could charge you $5 US, which I think is absolutely ridiculous and ludicrous. Like, this is Liberia we're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to put it down, but I'm saying, yo, this is Liberia we're talking about.
Jamaica is starting to accept US too a lot.
Is that right?
Yeah. Even if you try to tip in Canadian, they're like, excuse me.
Oh, really?
US, yeah.
And that can really be good for the economy, because I think it discourages diaspora to want to go back home.
Yeah.
And want to, unless you have a major government job there where you know that you're getting some kind of paycheck that, you know, can sustain your lifestyle, because everyone have a lifestyle that they want to maintain no matter where they are.
Yeah, but I also feel like there's just so many options. Like the internet right now, there's just so many options.
Oh, absolutely.
So I just feel like it is possible. You just have to want to. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe their government could do something to incentivize people to move back too, because it would be good for the economy if like people that left and have like established themselves somewhere else like would move back, like, you know, pay into that economy. So yeah, I
think Ghana is doing something very similar.
Yeah,
so they've been very active.
I know, like last year, a lot of people went to Ghana.
Yes.
Business, so yeah. I also heard Akon is like making a city.
Yep, there's the Akon city. He's building an entire city.
Yeah,
I think this is in Senegal.
Yeah,
but he's building an entire. I mean, that's just incredible. Yeah. Being able to do that. And I mean, I applaud him for it. I think it's such a great look.
He's ahead of us.
He's definitely
way ahead of us.
Yeah, I think it's always been. You know, sometimes you never know people's journey until like you sit down with them or you see their actions. You know, worries are always worries, but actions, I think those that can go very far. And I think he's living probably everything he ever thought about doing. Yeah,
he's like, how can I do this?
You could, who knows? You could probably go start your own city somewhere too someday. Wouldn't that be incredible?
I mean, that would be cool, I guess.
You don't know how that would kind of pan up yet.
Yeah.
So that's
that organized,
right? That's a good place to start, actually. All right, so we've covered so many things now. So let's go into inspirations. What were mentorship, inspiration? What's your take on that in general?
Like who's mentored me or inspired?
Who inspired you, and do you think that, you know, that kind of thing is important for people starting out in art or just wanting to be out there? Yeah,
I would say it's super important to just be able to see, like, representation is important. I think I didn't really have like a mentor, like somebody that I would talk to all the time, but I did talk to like in my beginning stages, and I met him through Instagram too. He's an artist named like Ryan Postic. So I met him, and like he did offer to like mentor me in anything I needed, and like anything I'd ask him, like pricing, whatever, he would like tell me. Like I'm like I was considering going to school, and like, what do you think? And he'd like call me and tell me about that. So he was definitely like somebody that was, I guess, important in my journey, and like he was pretty inspirational for me to even start like drawing and stuff like that. And I think it's important for people to see, you know, people, not like people that look like them, but people that kind of do the same thing that you do and are successful at it. So, you know, like I was saying before, it's like, wow, this is possible. And you know that it's just a matter of like getting to there, but you can get there, and this does exist. So
that's pretty cool. So you mentioned something about pricing. How do you go about getting paid with what you do? Because I feel like a lot of people are stuck there. People are afraid sometimes to ask for money or to ask for, and when they do ask for money, they seems to be getting things that's not worth your time. And if if it's not worth your time, that's not going to encourage you to keep doing what you're doing.
I think I know, like for myself, like I started off just like drawing people for free and whatever. This is what I'm just practicing. And then, you get a lot of people just wanting things for free. And then you kind of get to a point where like, you know, you're good enough to start charging.
Right.
But you're like, you don't want to charge too much because you want like the customer. So you charge modestly, but then when you're doing it, you're like, wow, this takes like a really long time, like minimum 8 hours to do this. So then you're like, should I charge more? And like, I struggled with that so much, and I used to underprice my stuff a lot, to the point where it like made me extremely like frustrated, especially because people were always trying to like cut some kind of deal or whatever. So I kind of like took a step back, and I was kind of thinking of doing more of like a curating type of job instead of like doing art for specific people. But after, like I said, when I just started drawing and posting things, that's when like I got some opportunities. And then I think just being involved with like that Deerfoot City project, like it really like boosted my confidence. So I felt like, okay, like my work is good enough for this.
Right.
Like
right.
I can charge accordingly. And I also like asked people like, yo, what do you charge to do this? You know? And, yeah, they gave me some things to kind of take into account before I make my prices. And, now I'm at a phase where like I'll price, and if you're not comfortable with that, like we can do some adjustments. Like we can just make like a smaller project, smaller or whatever, to just like fit into your budget. But I'm not going to like compromise too much on my price. If it happens, it happens. If not, it's okay. Then it wasn't meant to be. So yeah, I think just like having your confidence kind of raised. Right. Yeah, I used to get like a sinking feeling in my stomach when people would ask the price, because I'm like, oh my gosh, like I don't know what to charge these people.
And you're afraid generally. You're like, we will quicker offer. What I find out, being a photographer and a videographer, what I find out is we will quicker offer it for free than to ask for money. I don't know what it is about that. It's like we're afraid to ask for cash.
I think it's an art thing for sure. Yeah. Because anything else you would do, you would charge.
Right. Yeah. If you saw fish in the market for something, you would be like, okay, this is $5.
Exactly. So it's like, why don't I want to charge for this? Right. And it's hard. It's a mental thing for sure.
Definitely is a mental thing, and it's quite a journey as well.
Yeah, but the worst thing they can say, if you think about it, is like no. So,
and you got to come to terms with that.
Yeah.
Right. And I also think that if people think that maybe you're charging too much, I also feel that those are not your customers.
Yeah.
Because the people who come to you and say, "Look, this is what I want this, I want that," also understand that all of these things is going to require time and creativity and all that stuff. They know that it's going to cost money. Yeah. You know, so, and there's a lot of people that probably don't have the money, but would appreciate the price or appreciate your art. Yeah. Right. So we pretty much have to wrap this up. It's been going on for some time. Was there anything that you perhaps wanted to talk about that hadn't been covered? Something you want, I don't have all the questions or answers. I just
no, not really.
No, there's nothing else. Not really. Where do you have any final advice for artists out there, especially here for Black artists particularly? Because I feel like there's so many little pockets of Black artists. I know that when I went to the Black Lives Matters protest, I met Black artists there, but they're just sort of like in their bubble. Nobody's really,
I would say, just like reach out to other artists and collab. I've had some people reach out to me, and it was great. Like to see even you reaching out to me. Absolutely. Right? Yeah. So yeah, try and reach out and do like a collab with somebody. And now like people are pretty accessible through like social media. And I'd say look on, like if you go on the City of Calgary website, like there's always postings for artists, like calls for artists. So go on there like regularly and check it out. And also I'd probably say just like learn how to just like write emails properly and like the professional side of it. Like you need to be able to like write emails properly, put together like a good portfolio, like something that looks professional. Even if you need help with it, like find that help so you can like present yourself as somebody who, is capable. So I probably say that because that has been like probably next to skill like that. Yeah.
Right.
And if you're not educated, like maybe take a course or two and just kind of like learn. Just because, we do art because we enjoy it, but also like, you know, we have to kind of think of like the history and like what came with it and how we got here. So I think it's just important to have like at least some education. I know like you can be a really great artist self-taught, but I think that conceptually you should, you know, just learn how to think. I think that's important. And put yourself out there. So don't be afraid to post your stuff online. Like I said, reach out to other people. You're going to have to like really push yourself, even if you're like, because I didn't sleep in the beginning. Every night I would just stay up and just like do art and post every day.
And work on ideas.
Yeah, just like, mostly just painting and posting like every single night.
So you were posting every day?
Every day, yeah.
You said something about an interview that I saw, and it was with the Jamaican community.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and you were talking about this idea of being consistent. Just be consistent.
Consistency,
Just put out whatever you can put out.
Every single day, like it should be like a job. Like some people will say, we're not robots. Like, yeah, but you're going to have to be a robot for like a little bit. And then you can have time to relax later on. But yeah, you can have to sacrifice if you really want something. So yeah, I sacrificed sleep. And like my husband kind of thought I was crazy. Like he was like, you can't live like this. And I was like, you just watch.
One more.
Yeah. And then he was like, oh, you're right. So yeah, you just have to push yourself.
Did you, in those beginning stages, did you reach out to Instagrammers that had already blown up? And, you know, to try to get tips from them about how to approach the Instagram world, because it's an entirely different world out there.
You know what I did? I went and I found people who were similar to me, and I'd like follow them and like comment and whatever. And then usually you would get like a bunch of DMs and you could talk to like other Instagrammers. So I did. And yeah, I talked to a guy, like where is he from? I think he's in Ontario's Kofi's Art. And
I don't know who that is.
He's like pretty big on Instagram. So I was like, yeah. And then, he just like offered to give me some advice and stuff, which was great. And people ask me for advice and I'm like, sure. Like, so take advantage of like what you can do on Instagram and who you can talk to. And yeah.
That's pretty cool. So what's next for you?
Well, right now I'm working on a project called Kensington Bright. Hopefully I'm allowed to say this. Yeah. So it's coming up pretty soon.
That's
like
cool.
Early December.
Okay.
So, it's like myself and a few other artists, and we're working with that same company, Park.
Is it outdoor?
Yeah, it's outdoor. So, you'll see like, they're going to start promoting on Instagram pretty soon. Okay. And, we're just like decorating some of the buildings over there. And
well, nothing to worry about because this podcast is not going to air for like some time just because.
Oh, okay, good.
So, right? There's nothing to worry about here. But that's pretty exciting. Have you worked in the outdoor before? With painting?
Oh yeah, like that's how I did my last.
No, I mean like doing winter.
Oh, luckily since it's winter, we're not going to like actually paint. We're doing like vinyl.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Because I was going to say, and they're just going to kind of place it.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Right. Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's coming up. Tell us where people can find you.
Okay. Yeah. So find me on Instagram at Sid the Artiste. So that's with the E at the end. You know what? That's the best place to reach me because I don't really deal with Facebook that much. So yeah. Link me on Instagram.
I hear it. That's actually cool because when I was asking you, email or Instagram, you were like Instagram. I was like, all right, Instagram.
Yeah, quick response.